I'm Jen Burson. I'm the founder of Generation PR and the creator of Generation Academy and the Profitable PR Pros community. We are always sharing some strategies, some tips, landmines to avoid things that we want to help set you up for success. And whether you're just starting out or you're a more established PR pro or have your own business for a while, there's always something to learn. Always. I'm sorry, I don't care who you are. Always something to learn. I learn stuff every single day as I'm running my own agency, but there's also things that you just learn because they happen to you. And we're chatting about business mistakes that we are going to help you be aware of so that you can avoid them. And, PR, it's always changing. And I think that's a good thing. I like an industry that's not dying, but evolving, keeping us on our toes. We can be successful. And the fact that you're here and you're checking into continued education just shows that you are committed to mastering, honing your craft. One of the ways that you can guarantee success is to know the key business mistakes to avoid, and then obviously do the opposite. So that way you can fast track your path and sidestep any obstacles that a lot of PR pros face along the way. So the first mistake I'm going to share with you to avoid is jumping in and not having your legal ducks in a row. Let's just all say a collective when it comes to contracts and all of the legal hoops and hurdles that come along with running your own business. But it's not fun, but it can cost your business the most if they aren't given the attention they deserve. If your business is not what we say buttoned up, this is one of those situations that could come back to really bite you in the butt. So never do business without a contract. It will burn you at some point. Even if it's business with a friend, if it is not written down, it doesn't exist. It doesn't always guarantee that every single important detail is in the contract. You have to make sure that you're thinking through, this is what a lawyer does. They're thinking through the possibilities, the eventualities. What happens in this scenario? What if this happens? So you want to have legal recourse in your contract that states what happens if your client doesn't pay. If there's a specific amount mentioned in the contract, if there's a breach, that's called liquidated damages. It's you saying, if the breach happens, client pays this dollar amount. Right? Because they can't make you work, right? There's no such thing as like specific performance in a contract like that, which means you're going to have to do the work if there's a breach or whatever. It's usually monetary, right? But of course, there's always legal fees, and it's just like, if you can avoid a lawsuit or even going down that road whatsoever, please try to get it worked out before you have to threaten legal action. Sometimes, in my opinion, it is better to walk away when you sort of balance the pros and cons, because the lawyers are going to take more money probably than you're owed under the contract. Sometimes it's worth a demand letter, simple things like that. If it's under a certain amount, you could do small claims court. Anyway, you want to have your contract buttoned up so that you have recourse if a client doesn't pay. And the other part that's extremely important is outlining your scope of work, because you may eventually have a client who just keeps adding on work till the cows come home. They're just, can you do this? And you're like, okay. They don't understand what is included in the scope. What is it that you actually do? And also what is not in there, which means you don't do that for them. So it is worth making an investment in a contract lawyer that can advise you on the verbiage and make sure that you're covered in the types of scenarios that come up for agency owners. Like, we've heard all kinds of things that we have added based on the fact that it happened to someone else or it happened to us. There are conduct clauses, like if you have a client, you land them a New York Times interview and they're like, I'm just too busy to answer these questions, or they are not responsive, and you're leveraging your relationship, you're putting your reputation on the line for them, and they ghost you. Your contact at the New York Times is going to be pretty mad and probably won't work with you anymore. If you have a conduct clause in there that outlines what's expected of your client, that's a breach, and you could terminate the agreement and seek your liquidated damages under the contract. Again, legal action is never fun. It's not inexpensive, but if you want to ditch a client because they're behaving badly, a conduct clause can help you do that. So it's worth it to have an investment with an attorney to just get your contract locked and loaded, and then you can adjust like the scope, and you can adjust the timeline and the rate and things like that. You know, I'm not giving you legal advice. I'm saying get an attorney to give you the locked and loaded contract that's going to protect you in some of these scenarios. We also had something come up where our client hired another PR firm to do exactly what we were doing, because they thought like, well, one firm is great, they're like doing a great job, let's hire a second one, it'll be twice as good. And we're like, oh my God. So now I include the fact that we are agency of record for B2C outreach in North America. And that's worked really well. One simple line, it's always based on like what you've experienced. The scope of work could be an addendum, so it's listed at the end and you can outline, and then you can also say that these other services are going to come with an additional fee, so that they know and they sign a contract that says this isn't included, and if you need this, we can do it, but it's going to cost this much. Number 2 is, if you are not viewing the media pros the way that you view your clients. So it's all about relationships. As PR professionals, we know that you want to nurture these relationships and prioritize them. And, this is obviously important when it comes to clients, because if you don't have clients, do you have a business? You're, not able to provide the PR service that you are so great at. But many pros make the mistakes of not treating the media relationships with the same nurturing and focused attention as they do with their client relationships. So sometimes we look at the media and the different kind of gatekeepers as a means to get to what we want, which is features for our clients, write-up stories, inclusion in roundups, interviews, things like that, right? We look at those media professionals as means to get what we want. But it's essential to make a good impression, nurture your relationships if you want to be successful. And they're people too, right? They're not just a tool that you can, use, or an impediment to get features for clients. They're people too. And this is one of the reasons why I highly recommend niching down, because if you're going to take the effort to nurture relationships, you want to know the people and be helpful to them and give them things that are useful. Be a valuable resource, be a helper, be someone who's generous, and you help them do your job, even their job, even if it's not your client you're recommending. If you see that they're, they put out a query on Twitter for a certain contact, you say, hey, I saw your query and this isn't my client, but I have a friend who is the perfect fit. I'm going to send them over to you. Her name is so-and-so. Just look out for her email. Then you're like just a helper, right? And they'll start to see your name. And when you build these relationships and you have a deep expertise in your niche, these are the people that matter. These are the people that are going to be very helpful to you as you're building your results and helping your clients get results. So you want your relationships to be with the right people and you're taking the time to nurture them. Like, I'm not telling you go and be besties with every single media contact out there. It's not possible. But spend some time really nurturing the relationships. Don't just look at them as a tool to get to the features you want. They're people, they're putting work out into the world that they believe in. They want to feel like their work matters, like it's resonating. Make yourself a helper, make yourself a valuable resource, even if it's not you pitching your clients. That way, when you do pitch your clients, they're more receptive, they're more open. So nurture your media relationships with the same level of focus and importance that you do with client relationships, because as your business grows, they will be incredibly important to you in being successful and getting your clients to stick around. So you're going to treat the media and build those relationships the same way you would invest in getting to serve your clients. Your media contacts, your media list is your proprietary information. I see a lot of clients asking for the contacts, and I hope they don't know any better. I would think that they would, but when you part ways, if they say, I would like, as part of the turnover transition, I need to know who you pitched. Don't give them that, obviously, the contacts. You can tell them what media outlets, if there's anything outstanding. Your contacts are your proprietary IP. That means there's considerable time, money, effort, energy that goes into cultivating that. Never, ever, ever, if clients ask, you can let them know what outlets you pitched, maybe the name if they've sent a sample and they know it. That is yours, and that's your intellectual property. That's not theirs to have. That's what makes you valuable in your firm. Number 3 mistake that I see a lot of PR pros make is not investing in themselves as they grow their business, not having continued education or a mentor. And spoiler alert, I am not talking about college here. You can technically get a PR or a comms degree, but that's not really the key to success. I went to college, I have a comms degree, but then I went into law school and I made the leap into PR with really no deep concept or expertise on what it was, let alone any formal education or training or experience or even any contacts. So I trained myself. I learned as I went along and discovered through trial and error, and the industry evolved and I tried to evolve with it. It was really hard to have a mentor back 17 years ago. When I started, everything was very close to the vest. Like, these are my secrets. So PR professionals are lifelong learners. You have to stay on top of trends in your industry, your niches, and you need a mentor because it's the fastest way to level up your know-how, your skills, so that you can grow as fast and as streamlined as possible. You want a mentor that has values that align with you and your values. Okay? I've had a lot of different mentors, and having mentors that feel like my definition of success is like flexibility in my own schedule and being with my family, but also having an impact. It's less about income, it's more about impact. And when you make an impact, the income follows. It just does. And when you do things you love and you're passionate about, same thing, income follows, especially when there's a strategy. But that is what is important to me, is I want to make an impact. We have an impact goal in my business. And when I started to realize some other mentors were more focused on pushing for the sale and telling people these are your limiting beliefs. Yeah, we have limiting beliefs, but not every belief that keeps someone from pulling out a credit card to buy from you is a limiting belief. Sometimes it's not the right time. Sometimes it's not in the budget. And I moved away from mentors that were all about pushing for the sale. I don't care about any of that. Like, what is your impact in the world? How are you helping people and giving them transformation that gives them a better quality of life, helps them be more successful, spend more time with their family? That's what is important to me. That's what I would say is find a mentor. If you're into like the flash and the glitz and glamour, that's great. Like, there are mentors out there that are going to maybe better align with you. But I'll just tell you, like, for me, it was about finding people that understood that the impact was the most important reason, like our big why we do this. Number 4 that I see PR pros make mistake is not hiring a team or delegating. Entrepreneurs oftentimes stay stuck in the solopreneur phase of business for far too long. And one of the best pieces of advice that I got very early on from a professor of entrepreneurship at USC Business School was less gen equals more money. It was the first piece of advice that allowed me to have quantum growth in my business. Quantum. So I'm not talking like 20% the next year, 50% the next year. It was like 3x hockey stick growth. And I was hovering around, 95,000 or whatever when I just started. And I thought that was great, but I couldn't allow myself to feel successful until I replaced my salary that I was making as an attorney, as like a 3rd or 4th year litigator at a big firm. That's when back then I was like, that's when I know that I'm successful, because I've replaced that income. So I felt I had to hold on to every penny that came in. And, when you're in that solopreneur mindset and you stay there for too long, you're in the weeds of your business instead of elevating yourself to the role of a true CEO and working on your business, working on growing the business, working on filling the client pipeline, working on how you're going to scale it, working on strategy for the business itself and for serving the clients. But the day-to-day execution, being in the weeds, that's not a CEO's role. If you're on Canva creating graphic design and you're in there kind of struggling, trying to create something, you have to think about it like, what is your income goal? Know your numbers. So you know how much you have to charge, how much you can or want to work, and you boil it down to an hourly rate. When you think about your hourly rate, let's just say it's $250, and you're on Canva puttering around doing kind of average graphic design, when you could pay a graphic designer, $75 for an hour of their time, and you'll get something that's actually good, or you're working on a non-income generating activity in your business and it's costing you $250 an hour, when you could bring in a team member for $25 an hour, $20 an hour, depending on what it is. If it's something a little more technical, $75 an hour. Think of the money that you're losing because you are doing it all yourself. So the only way towards a truly scalable business is hiring a team you trust and delegating. It could be the day-to-day work. It could be the stuff you hate that's in your drudgery zone, like reporting. I have a team, my team does the reporting and they follow my process and they've made it even better. My team's good at it and it costs me less, and I'm freed up to serve this community, focus on this side of my business, and focus on sales and strategy, bringing in new clients, and what's the overall growth strategy of Generation PR. That is how you elevate your role to CEO status. It feels super great to relinquish control and then be like, okay, it's done. And maybe somebody's full effort is equivalent to your 80%, fine. It is definitely nerve-wracking, but it will change your business and change your life. And that is how you run a business you love. I don't want to do things in my business that suck, that I don't enjoy. I try not to have to do that. I try to just do the things I like. I mention it because some people take too long to move and hire a team or delegate. Number 5, not charging enough. This is a big mistake that PR pros make, especially in the beginning, is charging too little. They often think if they charge lower prices than their competitors for the same services that they'll win more clients and then they'll be more successful. Or they think, well, I'm just starting out and I don't want to charge too much, or that's going to be too much and the client is going to not be able to afford it, So first of all, if you have any experience in PR, you're starting out way better than I didn't have any. So if you worked at an agency or in-house somewhere and you have PR experience, you're not starting from scratch. You're not starting from scratch. You have all that experience and expertise and hopefully contacts and know-how. And now, rather than going through a dinosaur model of a big firm and having to pay 4x to just work with you, they get to get direct access to you and your small and mighty team, and you still have that experience. So you're not brand spanking new, unless you are brand spanking new, and that's fine. Pull out your experience and your what you've done in your life and create a story that really helps you establish your expertise in a niche that you want to work in. So all of your work experience matters, right? But if you're charging too little, it's a big mistake, and I have 2 reasons why. Number 1, this is a big one, and please do not ignore this, but clients who only care about getting the best deal are not the right fit for you. They won't be good long-term partners. Your lowest paying clients will be the number 1 biggest pain in your ass. I promise you. If that is the criteria that matters most, is bargain hunting and looking for the cheapest deal, you're going to hate your business. I promise. And you are going to struggle to maintain strong profit margins, and you are going to have to work a lot more. So it's not like you're doing less work. You're just doing the same work for less money. So if you have an income goal, you're probably taking on twice the amount of clients than you probably have to. So you should have a goal that focuses on value and the value you provide, and not lowballing your competitors or pricing yourself low because you're scared that the client's going to walk away, or you think it sounds high. I can usually get the client to tell me their budget on the call, and you should try to also. Sometimes you will be super pleasantly surprised, and you're like, okay, well, all right, and it's just, you're just like, it's pretty helpful to know, coming in and making assumptions, putting your money assumptions or your limitations on, I know I said about limiting mindset, but putting a limiting mindset on money because it sounds high on a client, these are businesses and they've figured out their budgets, their marketing budgets, their PR budgets. Hopefully they have. Sometimes they'll be cagey and they won't tell you, and that's fine. And there's also strategies that depend on how much you want the client. For me, I don't, and also don't put it on your website. Don't ever put your rate on your website, because I'm sorry, if I get on the phone with you and you're a total pain in the ass, you're not getting the same rate as somebody who I'm dying to work with and the founder seems like an absolute angel. They're not getting the same rate. I might price myself out of the pain in the ass client and make it so high that it's like, well, if you can afford that, then I can afford to deal with you, because I'll have 3 layers of people in between. So I never have to deal with your nonsense. You need to charge what you're worth. Don't be afraid to ask for the moon, because a lot of times you'll get what you want. And if you don't, you negotiate. And it's always a negotiation. It's never like the first thing. Like if they want to work with you and your rate is beyond their budget, then it becomes a conversation. And in those instances, you can cut some sort of non-essential things that, so that you still are making a great rate and you're looking flexible because you're cutting your rate, but you're not just like, okay, I wanted 8 and you only have 4, so okay, I'll take 4. No, you'll say, well, 8,000, part of our service, we submit awards for our clients. So I still want to provide you with the information, but you'll be submitting the awards on your behalf. So we'll still notify you, we'll send the links your way, and your team can submit. Those are very time consuming, like that's not really gonna like have a major impact, but at least it looks like we're cutting. Or, well, normally for that rate, we're managing sample sends, but what we can do is provide a tracking document and have the request go through your team, and that will also save on budget. So you're not cutting the core service, and you're also not cutting the rate for no compromise. You'll always find a way. You'll always find a way, and you do not want those bargain hunter clients. You want to be the premium option, and you want them to find a way to get in the door with you. That's why you need to niche down and be an expert. Like I promise you, that is the biggest decision, the most important decision you will make in your business, the most important step in the right direction, choosing your niche, going all in. Could be 3, but not, I do everything. Like I had a call, they were not happy campers, but that's how it works. I'm sorry, but that's the way that it goes. So the goal should be focusing on value, ROI, not lowballing your competitors, because you will attract the wrong kind of client. I promise you. If you want the right kind of client, charge your value. Charge based on the value you provide. And then number 6 is that this is the mistake I see PR professionals make, is not having a seamless, stellar onboarding experience for clients. Having it be choppy, having it be slow, not letting them know what to expect and when. So when you land new clients, you have to immediately wow them by your agency. You don't want them to feel confused or overwhelmed or unsure what you're working on or what to expect. You need a strong onboarding process, and that is the key to starting out the relationship healthy and building one that will last over time. You're kicking off on just the right foot. So, they know what you need to onboard. What do it's all like a process that's set up, and it's just like buttoned up, and some even automate their onboarding process. Ours has a process, but it is not totally automated yet. I don't love automating a relationship. I don't want to automate a relationship. To me, it's like you want to have those personal connections, and not everything that goes out. Like sometimes a client will just start sending you their assets. And if you have an automated thing that's like, please send us your photos, and they're like, but we already did, it seems like it's not personalized. So I don't automate my onboarding process, but we do have a process. But that's what I have for you guys today. So to recap, the 6 mistakes I see agency owners make and that you should strive to avoid are not getting your legal ducks in a row. So get your contract locked and loaded. 2, not viewing media pros and gatekeepers to build the relationships with them the same way that you would build relationships with clients. 3 is not investing in education and a mentor, not hiring a team or delegating, and staying stuck in that solopreneur phase for far too long. Number 5 is not charging enough, not having value-based pricing. And 6 is not having a seamless, buttoned up, stellar client onboarding experience. Okay, those are my 6 little things to avoid. And that's on your not to-do list, okay? So take care, guys. I appreciate you joining me. Thanks for being here. Make the rest of the week awesome. All right, see you soon. Bye.